this may not connect with some of you, because I believe there's two kinds of Christian hypocrisy, all right? Two kinds. First of all, there's lifestyle hypocrisy, okay? Those who are not who they say they are, and you're fine with it, okay? We'll be dealing about that when we talk about the fear of God. But right, because we understand there is that faction of people in the church, right? Those who are just here to get the button, right? To get the brownie patch, whatever.
Brownie button.
There you go. Brownie button. There you go. I was all confused. Right? Those who are just here so they can say, yeah, I belong to a church, therefore I'm a Christian, therefore I can get your vote when I run for city council. That's that group, okay? I'm going to be really honest with you. We will talk about that group more as we talk about the fear of God in a couple of weeks. You're not going to get a lot of attention this morning because that's not really what I'm talking about when I talk about the fear of hypocrisy. Because there are people who just genuinely live a hypocritical lifestyle and they're fine with it. They get what they want out of it. They don't struggle with it. They don't lay awake at night worrying about it. That group is not who I'm talking about today. I'm talking about people who struggle with momentary hypocrisy. Those who may appear to not always be who they say they are. People who have momentary lapses. How many of you guys have ever had a hypocritical moment in your life that you would be willing to share with the person next to you right now? Oh, you guys are weak. Right? Come on. You know, I mean, come on. It's something that we do. It's not intentional, but we have these moments. And as Christians, we say that we are Christ-like, we are Christ followers. The word Christian in the Greek is little Christs. We get that, right? We've talked about that 1,000 times, that we are little versions. We are smaller versions of the great Messiah. So guess what? Are we going to have points of hypocrisy? Yes, because we are not God and man. So as much as we strive to do what's right, as much as we desire to do what's right, we are going to have times in our life where we struggle. Now, let me talk to you about why I think that's a part of fear. Is that one of the things I believe that paralyzes the church from being who the church is supposed to be and doing what the church is supposed to do is this idea that I'm going to get called on it. That the whole world just thinks we're just a bunch of hypocrites, right? To which most people who have any education in the church just go, yeah, right? Because we are. We have our moments of hypocrisy. Now, the danger is when it becomes a lifestyle. That's a whole different group of people. But for all of us, we have these periods of time, these moments where we have this massive desire to do what's right. We are going to do what's right. And then we wake up the next day and we went, man, we did everything that was wrong. And then we think, well, now I can't really go talk to anybody about it because I'm not exactly the best example, right? So what do? We don't say anything. We don't talk, we shut up, we close up, we move out. That's what we do. And so this fear of hypocrisy has led to a lot of the decline in personal evangelism. And I'm not talking about leading your friends to Jesus, but I mean just genuinely people talking about their faith. So what we do is we start to work really hard to just not share it. To kind of get around it. You go to church? Yep. You gotta go. Right? I mean, one of the reasons that I don't tell people I'm a pastor is because there's this whole image that kind of comes with someone who's a pastor, and I don't feel a lot of those skills at all. You know, when someone goes, "You're a pastor," give me a hug. No, I'm good. Right? Because that's just, you know, so for me, it's like I don't want to have this label kind of chunked on me. And so what you have is when you're a Christian, you kind of have this, there's just certain ways that you should be about certain things. You should be this way or that way. If you're not, people begin to say, well, boy, that's not very Christian of you. Have you ever had anybody tell you that? Yeah. Right? You call somebody on something they did wrong, and they go, that's not very Christian of you. And you're like, do you read the Bible? Jesus called Peter Satan. I was nice. Right? You don't know. But the idea is that we have people say, well, that's not very Christian of you. I have this friend, well, he's not really a friend, I guess. He's a professor at Bethany, so anyway, I guess I'm friends with him on Facebook, so you know we're real tight. And, of course. Anyway, I don't know if you read this, but I guess he got involved in some comment forum on Facebook that he didn't realize he'd been tagged in or something. And anyway, he ended up in this discussion about Jesus, and this discussion was, what do you think the world needs to change? So Daryl put on there, well, the world needs more of Jesus. And I guess somehow it offended this guy who was in the forum. And now this guy has like made it his life cause, at least for the last 3 days, to contact everybody on Daryl's Facebook group, which probably, I'm guessing Daryl's a pretty popular guy. It's probably at least 1,000 people. And he's going around and he's telling everybody that Daryl's he's a hypocrite, he's fake, he's a liar. And so I actually got the message today. Now, and this guy is full of vulgarities and all that stuff. And so I responded to the guy, which my wife at this point right now is saying, only my husband should learn not to do that. You were going to say it, huh? That's what you were leaning over to Kim for, right in that moment. Exactly. I can see it. Because I really should just mind my own business. But the guy said something to me, and so I responded basically saying, okay, so I've seen Daryl minister to hundreds and thousands of students going through Bethany over the years. I've seen great things from his life, and you're somebody I don't know, and I should trust you because, you know, and of which I'm sure there will be no response to that. It's the end of it. because I tightened that up. That was money. But the idea is that, you know, Daryl's getting called out as a hypocrite because of the way he said something. This guy just decided that Daryl was too rude to be a good Christian. And so this is the idea where, well, that's not very Christian of you. That's not a very Christian thing. And so what we do is we let that fear of doing something that's not a Christian thing kind of stop us from really being overtly and honestly and openly sharing our faith and sharing the things that we love about what God has done in our lives. And so I believe firmly, and what stands as the difference between lifestyle and momentary hypocrisy is our desire. If we desire to do the right thing, if we desire to live right, that momentary hypocrisy drives us bananas, and it frustrates us. If we don't care, we fall into the lump of lifestyle hypocrisy. And that's where we have to be careful, because lifestyle hypocrisy becomes sort of apathy to the things of God, and you just choose to put on the look. Because we all know Christians, we have a look, right? There's a certain way that we should be, certain things we should say, right? Have you ever been in a Christian forum and just heard something, you're just like, whoa, that's not something Christians say, right?